Welcome. Welcome to the third lecture of probability theory. Till date, we have seen some of the very frequently used some of the terms. In the concept of probability theory, we are using it very frequently. And I assume that all of you are well versed of all those terms now. Because as it now onwards, we'll be using those terms frequently. So you should be clear enough that the idea of those terms are implemented. Now, we are on the next phase of probability theory. Now we'll be focusing on some of the basic and fundamental theorems of probability. There are two very important theorems of probability, and while using it you will come across that they are further classified using some of the terms which we have seen earlier, like first theorem is an addition theorem and second theorem is the multiplication theorem. This addition theorem further gets classified on the basis of mutually exclusiveness, whereas the multiplication theorem further classifies with the term independent. Look, the mutually exclusiveness and independence, we have seen it earlier. So you should be clear enough that what do you mean by mutually exclusiveness, what do you mean by not mutually exclusiveness, what do you mean by dependent, what do you mean by independent. Right? We'll see it one after another. I'll try to connect it with those words which we have seen earlier, but let us see it one after another. The first thing, the addition theorem. Addition theorem is classified in two ways. Two ways in the sense, there is one of the addition theorem when events are mutually exclusive, then one formula is used. The same addition theorem, when events are not mutually exclusive, then there would be some alteration in formula. So you have to remember two concepts about addition theorem. One particular set of formula is used when events are mutually exclusive, and there would be certain alteration if those events are not mutually exclusive. It is that simple. We'll see it one after another. Definition says that the addition theorem is if two events A and B are mutually exclusive, then probability of the occurrence of either A or B is the sum of individual probability of A and B. If you put it in a symbolic form, so it would be probability of event A or event B, or you can put it this way, probability of A union B, which is equal to sum of individual. It is sum of probability of A plus probability of B. Make a sum of individual probability. Now one thing you have to observe here is a word, or you can say a connector. In this case, two events are being connected with the word or. Okay, that is one thing to be marked off. Second, when you connect with the word or, if the connector is or, if you apply a set theory would there are two operations. One is union and second is intersection. What do you mean by union? Union is, if you define it, whether it is in A or it is in B or it is in both. Means union is used whenever connector is or. So probability of whether A happens or B happens, which is nothing but probability of A union B. If A and B are mutually exclusive, I am concentrating on the word mutually exclusive. when two events are said to be mutually exclusive? We have seen it earlier, but I am referring it back. Two events are said to be mutually exclusive if happening of one simply discards possibility of happening others. Then they are called mutually exclusive. So look, in this case, while using an addition theorem, the key is mutually exclusiveness. So before using an addition theorem, one must make sure that the events which they are talking about are mutually exclusive. Then one of the formula is used. If they are not mutually exclusive, some other formulas are used. So here the key is mutually exclusiveness. So one thing is very clear, that whenever you are using addition theorem of a probability, first thing is to be done is check mutually exclusiveness. Right? Okay. If they are mutually exclusive, then probability of A or B, or you can say probability of A union B, is nothing but sum of an individual probability. Let us prove it. If an event A can happen in A1 ways, that means A1 favorable ways are there, and event B is happening in A2 ways, so number of favorable cases for B becomes A2, then the number of ways in which either event means whether A or B, again the connector is OR. Whenever a word either is used, connector is always OR. Either event can happen is simply sum of those two, A1 plus A2. If the total number of possibilities is n, then by definition, the probability of either the first or the second event happens is total number of favorable cases. Total number of favorable cases for either A or B happen is A1 plus A2 divided by total number of possible outcomes. Total number of possible outcomes are n in this case, which is equal to A1 plus A2 divided by n. Now just make it simplified. Make this simplified in the sense that A1 plus A2 upon n can be further simplified as A1 upon n plus A2 upon n. As we know that A1 upon n is probability of A, A2 upon n is probability of B. Hence, it is proved that probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B. This we have proved it for two events, and these two events are mutually exclusive. So if two events are mutually exclusive, then probability of whether A happens or B happens is nothing but sum of their individual probability. The whole idea can be extended to three events even. Three or more events even. But the only condition is they should be mutually exclusive. Let us extend the same idea with probability of A happens or B happens or C happens. You can put it this way even, probability of A union B union C, which is equal to probability of A plus probability of B plus probability of C, means sum of individual probability. Right? Let us take one example that will make it more clear. The probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3 or 5 in a single throw of an unbiased die is an example where the events are mutually exclusive and addition rule of probability can be applied. First thing first, just think of probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3 or 5. Look, connector is OR. What the experiment is? Experiment is throwing a die. While throwing a die, what you have is a 6 different possibilities. You can get number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 on surface. Is it fine? Okay. Since two events are being connected with the connector OR, first of all, make it separated. Make it separated in the sense, think only of getting a number which is in multiple of 3. Think only an event where you are getting a number which is in multiple of 5. Separate it in nature. Then after we'll connect it with the word OR. First of all, try to get an individual probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3. Secondly, find the probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 5 independently. And then since the connector is OR, you can make sum of those two. I am putting it, there is nothing to worry. We'll see some of the examples that will make the whole concept very clear. Let us have one of the examples. An unbiased cubic die is thrown. What is the probability of getting? The first example is a number which is in multiple of 3 or 4. Second one is a number which is in multiple of 2 or 5. Okay, let us think of. First thing, unbiased cubic die is thrown. A die is thrown. Total number of possible outcomes are 6. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 may come on surface. So there are total possibilities are 6. So your number of mutually exclusive and exhaustive cases are 6. Now let us focus on the first question. Getting a number which is in multiple of 3 or 4. As I said it earlier, separate it. First of all, try to get probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3. Okay. Probability of the number being multiple of 3. How many different possibilities are there to get number which is in multiple of 3? Among this 1 to 6 number, there are only 2 numbers which are in multiple of 3. They are 3 and 6. Any of these 2 number occurs, they are favorable. So total number of favorable cases for getting a number which is in multiple of 3 are 2. Okay. So numerator would be 2 divided by total number of possible outcomes. While throwing a die, total number of possible outcomes are 6. So it is 2 by 6. Further simplifying it, naturally it comes to 1 by 3. Now think of the second part. Probability of number being in multiple of 4. How many different options are there by which you can get a number which is in multiple of 4? Among 1 to 6, there is only one number, 4 itself. So number of favorable cases for it would be 1 only. So it would be 1 divided by total number of possible outcomes, which are 6. So probability of number being multiple of 4 will be 1 upon 6. Look, now you try to focus on getting an individual probability. Is it okay now? Fine. The question was to get a probability of number being multiple of 3 or 4. That means probability of 3 or 4 which is equal to sum of individual probability. Sum of individual probability means probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3, which is 1 by 3, plus getting a number which is in multiple of 4, which is 1 by 6. If you make sum of these two, 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 6, you will get probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3 or 4. Addition theorem says that if the connector is OR and if your events are mutually exclusive, then you can sum up the individual probability. Again, the word mutually exclusiveness came in picture. Look, probability of getting a number which is a multiple of 3. There are two ways, 3 is 6. Probability of getting a number which is a multiple of 4. In a single way you can get it, which is 4. Look, in both the cases, is there anything common? No, it is not. Since there is nothing common in between of those two, you can say that these two events are mutually exclusive. So you can use an addition theorem, and that is why 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 6, simplifying it 3 by 6, which is equal to 1/2, becomes a probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 3 or 4. The second example is almost similar in nature. Try yourself now, come on. Probability of number being in multiple of 2. How many different ways are there of getting a number which is in multiple of 2? If you get 2, if you get 4, if you get 6, but there are 3 different possibilities of getting a number which is in multiple of 2. Okay, so number of favorable cases becomes 3 divided by total number of possible outcomes, they are 6. Simplifying it, it comes to 1/2. Think of another part of probability of number being in multiple of 5. How many different ways one can get 5? Only one way. So number of favorable becomes 1. So probability becomes 1 upon 6. Now, these are individual probabilities. Getting a probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 2. Probability of getting a number which is in multiple of 5. But if you make a connection or you connect it with the word or, so probability of number being multiple of 2 or 5. That means first event, second event, connected is or. That means what we are talking about is union. And since they are mutually exclusive, look, 2 you can get it in a 3 different way. 2, 4, 6. 5 you can get it in a 1 different way. Is there anything common in between of these two? No. Since no is the answer, they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive and connected is or, you can make an addition of individual probability. So probability of number being multiple of 2 or 5, which is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 6. Further simplifying it, it comes to 4 by 6 and which comes to 2 by 3. Is it clear now? I hope it is clear now. We'll see further examples to make it more clear. From a well shuffled standard pack of 52 playing card, one card is drawn. What is the probability that, now it is A to H. We have to find a probability of all these events. The first one is, it is either of a red color card or a black color card. It is either a heart card or a diamond card. It is either a spade card or a club card. It is either a red card or spade card. Red card, whereas spade card is of black color. It is either a black card or a heart card. Heart card is of red color. It is either a king or queen. It is either a king of red color or queen of black color. It is either a king of heart or queen of diamond. King of heart is of red color, whereas queen of diamond is of red color, black color. Let us see one after another. Number of red cards. There are 26. Number of black cards, they are again of 26. So the total number of cards are 52. Now think of probability of getting a red card becomes number of favorable cases for red divided by total number of possible outcomes. Number of favorable cases of getting a red color are, how many different ways you can get red card? That's 26. So it comes to 26 upon 52. What is the probability of getting a black card? How many black cards are there? 26. So favorable cases becomes 26 divided by total number of possible outcomes. There are 52. So it again comes to 26 by 52. Now we are connecting this to event with the word or. Whenever you are connecting two different events with the connector or, addition theorem can be applied only if they are mutually exclusive. Getting a red card and getting a black card, are they mutually exclusive? When you get a red card, naturally you are discarding possibility of getting black. Whenever you are getting a black card, you are discarding possibility of getting red. So they are mutually exclusive. If they are mutually exclusive, addition theorem with mutually exclusiveness theorem can be applied. So probability of getting a red or a black card is nothing but sum of individual probability. Individual probabilities are 26 upon 52 plus 26 upon 52. It comes to 52 upon 52, which is equal to 1. Oh, it is 1. 1 means this event is surely happening. Just think of it. Think of it practically. There are 52 cards, of which one card is drawn. Probability of getting it, whether it is red or a black, it is always going to happen because there are only two possibilities. There are only two possibilities in the sense that the card can be of red or of black color. No other colors are there. So this is going to happen always. So it would be a sure event. Second probability. Our intention is to get probability of heart or a diamond card. Okay. How many heart cards are there? There are 13 heart cards. How many diamond cards are there? There are 13. Total number of cards are 52. So probability of getting a heart card becomes 13 upon 52. As 13 is number of favorable cases for getting a heart card. So it is 13 upon 52. Similarly, probability of getting a diamond card is again 13 by 52. As 13 diamond cards are there, so favorable cases are 13 divided by total number of possible outcomes are 52. So it comes to 13 by 52. Now we are connecting it with the word or. When you connect it with the word or, naturally addition theorem can be applied. But while using an addition theorem, you should test mutually exclusiveness. Getting a heart card and getting a diamond card, are they mutually exclusive? That simply means that it should not occur simultaneously. Is it happening? Getting a heart card simply discards possibility of getting a diamond card, and if a drawn card is diamond card, it simply discards possibility of getting a heart card. So they are mutually exclusive in nature. Since they are mutually exclusive, addition theorem can be used, and addition theorem says that when you connect two different events with the word or, which is sum of individual probability. Sum of individual probability means it is 13 by 52 plus 13 by 52, which comes to 26 by 52. Further simplifying it, it comes to 1/2. Is it okay? The third one. Intention is to get probability of a spade or club card. How many spade cards are there? 13. How many club cards are there? There are 13. Total number of cards are 52. What will be the probability of getting a spade card then? It comes to 13 upon 52. What would be the probability of getting a club card? Which again comes to 13 by 52. These are individual probability. If you connect this two event with the word or, mutually exclusiveness is to be tested. Can a spade card and a club card occur simultaneously? It is never going to happen. Since it is never going to happen means this two event doesn't happen simultaneously. That means they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, addition theorem can be used, which is nothing but sum of individual probability. Sum of individual probability is nothing but 13 upon 52 plus 13 upon 52, which comes to 26 by 52. Simplifying it, it comes to 1/2, which is exactly the same with the last example. Next one. Our intention is to get probability of a red or a spade card. Red is type of color. Spade is type of card. Spade card is of black color. How many red cards are there? There are 26 red cards. How many spade cards are there? There are 13. Get individual probability. Probability of red card is 26 upon 52, because 26 is favorable cases for getting a red card and 52 is total number of possible outcomes. So it comes to 26 by 52. Probability of spade card becomes 13 by 52, as 13 is number of favorable cases for getting a spade card, divided by total number of possible outcomes, they are 52. So it comes to 13 by 52. Now we are connecting this two event with the word or. Whenever you connect two different events with the word or, and if you intend to use an addition theorem, there is a condition of mutually exclusiveness. So you have to test it that getting a red or a spade card, are they mutually exclusive? Red color card and spade. Spade is of type black. Naturally, getting a red color card simply discards possibility of getting spade. Getting a spade card simply discard possibility of getting red. So they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, you can use it in the addition theorem. In an addition theorem, it says that if you just make a sum of individual probability, it gives you probability of red card or a spade card. Individual probabilities are 26 upon 52 plus 13 upon 52. Simplifying it, it comes to 39 upon 52, which is 3 by 4, which is equal to 0.75. The next one is as same as of the previous one. How many black cards are there? 26. How many hard cards are there? There are 13. Look, hard cards are of red color. So probability of black card is 26 upon 52, because 26 number of favorable cases are there for getting black card. Now think of probability of getting a hard card. How many hard cards are there? There are 13. So number of favorable cases becomes 13. So 13 upon 52 becomes probability of getting a hard card. Now, our intention is to get probability of black or hard card. Connector is OR. Have to test mutually exclusiveness. Getting a black card and getting a hard card. Hard card is of a red color. Naturally, they are mutually exclusive. It is never going to happen that both of them occurs simultaneously. Since they are mutually exclusive, you can say that if you just make an addition of their individual probability, it gives you probability of black or a hard card. So 26 upon 52 plus 13 upon 52, which comes to 39 upon 52, which is equal to 3 upon 4, and by simplifying it, it comes to 0.75. Next example is, our intention is to get probability of king or queen. How many number of kings are there? There are 4. How many queens are there in a set of 52 cards? There are 4. If you just get an individual probability, it comes to 4 by 52, and with the probability of queens again it is 4 by 52, right? If you connect this to event with the word or, mutually exclusiveness is to be tested. Getting a king and getting a queen, are they mutually exclusive? Yes, they are, because while drawing a card, you will not get a king and a queen simultaneously. So they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, individual probability can be summed up to get or. Probability of getting a king or queen, which is equal to sum of individual probability 4 by 52 plus 4 by 52, which is 8 by 52. Simplifying it, it comes to 2 upon 13, and with further simplifying it, it comes to 0.154. Now our intention is to get probability of king of red color or queen of black. Individual probability, get individual probability. How many kings of red color are there? There are 2. So probability of queens of black color, how many number of queens of black color? There are 2. So probability of king of red color, which is equal to 2 upon 52. Probability of queen of black color, which is 2 upon 52. And they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, intention is to get probability of king of red color or queen of black. Since they are mutually exclusive, you can make sum of individual probability. So it is 2 upon 52 plus 2 upon 52, which is equal to 4 upon 52, which is 1 by 13. Further simplifying it, it comes to 0.077. Same example. Our intention is to get probability of king of heart or queen of diamond. Okay. How many king of hearts are there? 1. How many queen of diamonds are there in a pack of 52 cards? It is 1. If you connect this to event with the word or, individual probability can be summed up if they are mutually exclusive. Getting a king of heart and a queen of diamond, they are mutually exclusive. They are not going to happen simultaneously at any point of time. So individual probability can be summed up. So it is 1 by 52 plus 1 by 52, which is equal to 2 by 52, which is, further simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 26, and it comes to 0.0385. Let us have one more example. A bag contains 3 black, 4 white and 5 red balls. One ball is drawn at random. What is the probability that it is either a black or white ball? The second question is, it is either a black or red. Third question is, it is either a white or red ball. Let us see it one by one. Total number of balls: 3 black, 4 white and 5 red ball. If you make sum of each of them, 3 plus 4 plus 5, total number of balls are 12, of which black balls are 3, of which 4 of them are white. Our intention is to get probability of black or white balls. Try to get individual probability. Probability of black ball. Number of black balls are 3, so naturally in that case 3 of them are favorable. So what would be the probability? Probability of getting a black ball is 3 upon 12. Probability of getting a white ball becomes 4 by 12. Now you are connecting this to event with the word or. Getting a black ball and a white ball Are they mutually exclusive? If you just pick up a ball, if it is of type black, naturally you are discarding possibility of getting a white. While picking up a white ball, you are naturally discarding possibility of getting a black ball. So they are mutually exclusive. If they are mutually exclusive, then you can make sum of individual probability. 3 by 12 plus 4 by 12, which is equal to 7 by 12. So probability of getting a black or a white ball becomes 7 upon 12. Second question. Our intention is to get probability of black ball or red ball. Total number of balls are 12. How many black balls are there? 3. How many red balls are there? There are 5. Probability of getting a black ball. Favorable cases to get a black. 3 upon total number of possible outcomes. 12. So it is 3 by 12. Probability of red ball. 5 by 12. Now you just connect this two events with the word or. Probability of black ball or red ball, since they are mutually exclusive, you can make sum of individual probability. 3 by 12 plus 5 by 12, which is equal to 8 by 12. Further simplifying it, it comes to 2 by 3. The third question. Our intention was to get probability of white or a red ball. Total number of balls are 12. Of which number of white balls are 4 and number of red balls are 5, right? Probability of getting a white ball, which is 4 by 12, because 4 is number of favorable cases for getting a white ball, divided by total number of possible outcomes, that are 12. Now probability of red ball. How many red balls are there? 5. Naturally favorable cases becomes 5, divided by total number of possible outcomes, which is 12. So it comes to 5 by 12. Now if you just connect with the word or, probability of white or red ball. One thing is to be tested. Are they mutually exclusive? If you just pick up a ball, can you get a white and a red ball simultaneously? No. Since we cannot get white and red ball simultaneously, they are called mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, addition theorem can be used, and in this addition theorem it is nothing but addition of individual probability. Here the individual probabilities were 4 by 12 and 5 by 12. Add those two, it comes to 9 by 12. Further simplifying it, it comes to 3 upon 4, which is 0.75. I hope now things are very clear. Now we are shifting towards the next part. Addition theorem when events are not mutually exclusive. Not mutually exclusive means they are overlapping events or intersection events, which we have seen it earlier quite deeply. The addition theorem states that if two events A and B are not mutually exclusive, then probability of occurrence of either A or B is the sum of an individual probability of A and B minus the probability of occurrence of both A and B. If you put it in a symbolic format, it comes to something like this. Probability of A or B, or you can say probability of A union B is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. Try to connect the things. A intersection of B is nothing but if you just connect two different events with the word AND. It is just because of whenever you are intersecting two sets at that time. What is intersection of A and B? An element which is in A as well as in B. Means elements which are in A and B. So always two events are being connected with the word AND. At that time it is nothing but intersection. And if two events are being connected with the word or at that time it is always union. With the help of set theory, these events are defined as two events, or you can say more events. Two or more events are said to be intersection event if A intersection of B is not phi. Phi means null set. It is not null. That means A and B are not disjoint sets. In other words, they do have some common elements. Just view it with a Venn diagram, this will make it more clear. Look, this is what a Venn diagrammatic format of not mutually exclusive event, or you can say overlapping event, or you can say intersection event. Look, when events were mutually exclusive at that time, we have seen the Venn diagram, they were two different sets, A and B. There was nothing common in between. Whereas, if these events A and B are not mutually exclusive, that means they have certain things in common. Look here, the marked area is a common area. So whenever two events are not mutually exclusive, there would always be some common area. Okay? Just observe it. When I say just observe it, that simply indicates that the whole area is divided in three parts. The first part is event A, but it is not in B. Second area is the common area. And the third area is event B but not in A. If you combine these three different types, then you will get the total area of A or B. It will, the thing will be clear in the next slide. Just wait for it. Let me give you one example that will make it more clear. One example of not mutually exclusive. The probability of getting a number which is a multiple of 2 or 3 in a single throw of an unbiased die. As unbiased die is thrown, our intention is to get a number which is a multiple of 2 or 3. Is it okay? How many different ways you can get 2? If 2, 4 or 6 occurs on surface, you can say that event A happened. Is it okay? Getting a number which is in multiple of 3. How many different ways you can get a number which is in multiple of 3? 2 ways. 3 or 6. Look, event A which is 2, 4, 6. Event B which are 3 and 6. Fine enough. Intention is to get whether these two events are mutually exclusive or not. Okay. Let us do it practically. Let us throw a die. A number which occurs on surface is 4. Which event happened? Event A. Because in event A it can be 2, 4 or 6. 4 occurs, so event A happened. Fine enough. Let us throw it again. And let us suppose 3 occurred on surface. Which event happened? Event B. Because in event B there were two possibilities, 3 or 6. So naturally the second event B occurred. Fine enough. Now throw it the third time. Let us suppose 6 occurred on surface. Now what will you say? Which of these two events occurred? Both. Because in 2, 4 and 6 it is event A. 3 and 6 it is event B. 6 is common in both of them. So both of the event happen simultaneously. If both the event happen simultaneously, naturally they are not mutually exclusive. They have something in common. Since they have something in common, they are not mutually exclusive. So there would be an alteration in addition rule of probability. Let us see it. Let us prove it. Let the sample points corresponding to the occurrence of A and B be the points inside of region labeled A and B. Then the event A union B. A union B means whether the points are in A or they are in event B consists of all the points lying inside these two regions. Okay, as I said it, that two regions are set of three different regions. So A union B can be expressed as union of three disjoint sets. The first set is, it is A intersection of B complement. What do you mean by this? Means point is in A and not in B. That was the first region. Second region was that common region. It is in A as well as in B. The third region. The points are in B and not in A, which is the third region. Hence, by axioms of probability, probability of point is within event A occurs or B occurs, which is equal to sum of individual probability. Sum of individual probability means it is probability of A intersection of B complement plus probability of A intersection of B plus probability of B intersection of A complement. Also, A can be expressed as the union of two disjoint sets. First one, probability of A intersection of B complement means the points are in A and not in B, and probability of a points are in A and it is in B. So probability of A is sum of these two, probability of A intersection of B complement plus probability of A intersection of B. So if our intention is to get probability of A intersection of B complement, which is equal to, so naturally this you have to play some left hand side and right hand side. Our intention is to get probability of A intersection of B complement, then probability of A intersection of B is to be taken on the other side of it. If you put it on the other side, it comes to probability of A minus probability of A intersection of B. Is it clear? Okay. Similarly, B can be expressed as union of two disjoint sets, as the point is in A and it is not in A, and the second portion is points are in B and they are in A. So probability of B is probability of B intersection of A complement plus probability of B intersection of A. Using the values of probability of A intersection of B complement, probability of B intersection of A complement from the above equations, we get probability of A union B is probability of A minus probability of A intersection of B. Probability of A intersection of B will remain as it is, intact. And third portion would be probability of B minus probability of A intersection of B. If you just open the bracket, some of the things will be cancelled out. some of the things will be cancelled out, so probability of A intersection of B will be cancelled out. And as we know that A intersection of B is as same as of B intersection of A. So ultimately the remaining quantity would be probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection of B. Now this is the final formulation. Probability of A union B is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection of B if A and B are not mutually exclusive. And